Hi, hello people, welcome back to my channel Visualize with Vini. And in today's video I'm going to talk to you about the most interesting part of learning, actually my interesting part of learning, that is the newspaper. So many people I think have doubts regarding newspapers, how to read newspapers, how to reduce time in reading newspapers, what to read in newspaper and what not to read in newspaper, how to make it efficient. There are a lot of questions from your side, so I thought I'll answer them in these videos. And don't skip the video till the end to know the fruitful discussion of newspaper reading. And I think that we will read about a news from today's article itself so that you can understand it better. And I think the video can go for a long, like about 20 minutes, because since we are getting into a topic and I wanted to do it personally very deeply, so that once you understand it clearly, you can go with further articles every day. Without any further delay, let's get into the video and get started. And before going for newspaper discussion, I will give you a rough framework of how a newspaper looks like. First of all, before going for newspaper discussion, you should choose what newspaper will you read for this entire 1 year. And what newspaper did I read, if you ask me? I read the Hindu newspaper only right from the start, because be it the YouTube channels or the things that I refer to, I think that Hindu is somewhat not politically very deviated to one political party or to one political section, and so you can have many kind of opinions as well as a lot of things in the Hindu newspaper. So that is why Hindu is preferred, and almost every day you can see the important news in that apart from advertisements. So that is why Hindu is recommended. So I would also like to recommend to you that, but if you feel that this paper is not okay for you, you can also choose another newspaper that you are following, but today's article will be from Hindu. So second thing that I want to tell you is, after choosing the newspaper, the sections. Every newspaper has different sections. For example, if you take the first page will be news sections, which contains all the headlines of today, for which the detailed news will be in the back side of the page. Either it will be in page 6 or page 8. They will give you only the headline or main part of the news, and below that they will have like, for detailed news go to page 8. But all the headlines or important news will be displayed in the first page. You have to read it, at least the headlines of it, because those are the important topics that might not be useful for examination perspective, but when you go for interview or some kind of things that you have to generally know is that. So with the first page, at least read headlines of everything in the first page. And after that, if you see, you have different headings like city, state, nation, sports, business, editorial, opinion section. These are all the kind of different sections that you have in a newspaper. And if you ask me what section should I read and what section should you skip, it basically doesn't depend on sections, but what kind of news you read. How will you know that? By previous year question paper and the syllabus. As I have already discussed in my previous videos about the syllabus segregation as well as the previous year question paper and its importance, you have to read it before and at least have a rough idea. Then only you should go for newspaper, in my perspective, because then only you will know what to read and what not to read. And whenever you start reading a newspaper, any article from the newspaper, you should know from which area they have asked the question, and you should know whether any previous year question has come from this particular section. If you know it, it will be of great utility and it will help you in the examination. Otherwise, what will happen is, you will randomly read newspapers. Everything will be useful but not for the examination. So that is why I am saying this. And if you ask me roughly what are the important sections of a newspaper, I would say the front page and the editorial section. Even in the editorial section, you have to go only with the syllabus, because in the editorial section itself, sometimes you will have political news. So it doesn't belong to what section of the paper you are reading, but majorly on the syllabus as well as the previous year question paper. But major important articles will either come in editorial section or the opinion section. And in Sunday, you have a separate section in Hindu called as FAQ, frequently asked questions. Those sections are really important because most of the times, most of the important news articles come in these sections. You can have a view on it. And the next thing is, I want to tell you is, please read newspaper as a story, as your leisure time hobby. Don't focus and sit and read the factual things again and again. Don't try to muck it up, because when you try to do it, It will be a very hard task, because think every day you get newspaper. If you try to mug up every day's newspaper, how much will you ever mug up, and how much can go into your mind? It will be a very tedious process. So whenever you read today's news, just predict what will happen tomorrow and just connect it to every day, so that it will be very easy in your preparation. So this is the basic thing that I want you to share regarding newspapers. And without any further delay, let's get into a topic and see how to read an article. I will detailedly tell you how I read a newspaper article, how I relate to things, and how you can also practice this, because practicing like this has really helped me in my preparation. I think it will also help you in your preparation. Without any further delay, let's get into it and see it. The article that I have chosen today is something from the editorial section, and you can see it in the second big article. And the title of the paper says that recognizing the impact of climate change on health. This is the article that I have chosen. And as I said you, once I see the article, what do? I go and work on from which section have they asked this question. So you can relate this to, if you can relate it to any syllabus part, first write it on the top of it, just as I have done it, because it will help you throughout reading that article in that particular perspective. Otherwise you will read it from a commoner's perspective and not from UPSC examiner's perspective or a candidate's perspective. So try writing it on the top, so that from that particular subject's perspective you will read the article. So for example, I have written GS1. You can either take it as important geographical phenomena, like climate change is an important geographical phenomena, just like the earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., that is causing a lot of impact in lot different sectors. Or you can take it in change in geographical features and the impact in flora, fauna, etc. That is also a topic that is given in your syllabus under the GS1. So you can include it in this one or that one. So basically it comes under GS1 geography section, geographical phenomena. Fine, so we will move into the article further and see what is given in the article in the first paragraph. So whenever I look at an article, I look at it as an UPSC answer and not a gentleman's perspective. So looking at this itself, first question you have 28th COP. So how many COP has taken place? So COP refers to the Conference of Parties, which is done by, or it is a party to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And this is a part that most of the questions are asked on previous year question paper with related to environment section, because bodies are asked often, COP is asked often the Paris Agreement is asked. So if you take COP21 is Paris Agreement, right? So COP28, so till now COP28 has come. You will read it in detail in your books, but just know that COP28 is something that is related to environment, and it is like a convention. Group of bodies together come and take decisions on climatic actions. So recently it's going to be get ready, and as India is getting ready for the 28th COP, it has to keep in mind the climate change and its impact on health. This is the general thing that first paragraph is telling about. And look at this particular word in the first paragraph. Climate change affects health. So for example, if they are going to ask a question, how does climate change affect health? How can you write answer is the perfect thing. You know, this giving this kind of answers can really fetch you mark, because in the first paragraph you have climate change affects health directly. How can it affect health directly? Either by causing sickness to you, that is by diseases, or it can cause death to us due to heat stress or dehydration. You may die. So these are the two ways in which direct impact can happen by climate change. And in indirect ways also, climate change can affect your health. How does it do? By affecting the nutrition, because the crop's fertility, food security will be affected. Your nutrition can go low, because think of a climate change where it is raining every day and you don't have food, because agriculture is predominantly dependent on rainfall. So food insecurity is there. Because of that, malnutrition comes. Because of that you get sick, and it affects your health. So indirectly it can affect by affecting your nutrition, by reducing your working hours due to the heat stress, and increasing the climate induced stress. These are the indirect ways by which climate change can affect you. Everybody will write it will affect health, but this is a point that makes you stand out of the crowd. So directly it is going to impact you through sickness and death, and indirectly it is going to affect you by affecting your nutrition, by reducing your work hours, and it can also create climate induced stress. And let's go to the second paragraph where Paris Agreement is maintained. And look at this. This is a prelims fact where it is given that Paris Agreement target is to cap the rise in temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this is the target which is fixed in Paris Agreement, that we should not go above 1.5 degrees Celsius of the pre-industrial levels. You will read it in your basics, but this is the general target. This is a prelims based question. That is why I have marked that previous year question important section. And see this, UPSC is also interested in trend based question. So this is a trend based question. The year 2023 saw the highest temperature and heat waves in the recorded history. So in the history, 2023 only has seen the highest temperature and heat waves. So this can also be a question in your preliminary area. So this is how you will read newspapers for your examination and not like a commoner. And let's come to the next one, climate emergencies. So what can climate change do is it can create extreme heat, it can bring cyclones, it can bring floods. But look at the key word that is used in this article, with increased regularity. So already we have floods, already we have heat stress, but what can climate change do? It can make these events regular, that is repeat again and again. We are having frequent cyclones now because of climate change. Why? Because we are having floods because of the melting of ice glaciers due to excess heat, or global warming is happening. So melting of glaciers is happening and we are having frequent floods. So the key word used here is increasing regularity. So these are the words that you can use to make your answer look so great. These will interfere with the food security, as I already mentioned, and the livelihoods. Let's go to the second paragraph and see. Next topic is talking about double burden. So this is also a keyword here. You can either address climate change impact on health, like direct and indirect impact, or you can address in this way, like it has an impact by creating communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. Communicable diseases is something that spreads from one person to another, and non-communicable disease is something that cannot spread. It is caused by some pathogen, but it cannot spread from one person to another. So how does climate change bring in communicable diseases or aggravate the problem of communicable diseases? Is they have given how it is in the paragraph itself. See, first one is whenever there is more heat in the atmosphere, more temperature in the atmosphere, easily these pathogens or vectors can grow. So that is why we have recently seen the desert locust. These are all happening due to climate change, people say. So it can increase the growth of vectors like mosquitoes, sandflies, ticks, etc. They can live for a long period of time, and it is definitely going to affect our environment. Right, and see the second thing, that how can it bring communicable diseases? Through increase in the vectors. And they have also given an example for that. Example, mosquitoes. See, mosquitoes can't live in a very cold place, right? But nowadays mosquitoes are even prevalent in Himalayas, which shows that the climate change happening there, Himalayas itself is becoming heat, and mosquitoes are surviving there and bringing in diseases like dengue, etc., which are transferring from person to person. So that is the point they have given, and they have quoted an example. Giving examples for your answers can fetch you more marks. The examples are also mentioned there. That is why I have shown that there. And look at the second one. How else they can make is reduced availability of food and water, and the decrease in the nutritional value of food increases the vulnerability to diseases. So whenever you don't have proper food, your immunity will be affected. When your immunity is weak, what happened? You are susceptible to diseases. That is why they have given this here. And for example, they have given epidemics. For example, due to flood, what happens? Coastal erosion happens, coastal submergence, that is seawater getting mixed with something, or these floods can affect your drainage system. Waterborne diseases become common, which are communicable diseases. So these are the examples they have quoted in this article. And non-communicable diseases, and look at the next paragraph. How do non-communicable diseases spread? For this they have given the example of heat, physical exertion, dehydration, constant state, dehydration, constant dehydration, a constant state for laborers. Of these could lead to kidney injuries, which are rising in India due to uncontrolled diabetes. Similarly, they have also given a disease of the non-communicable nature, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases which are exacerbated by extended air pollution. Due to this air pollution and heat waves, there are some uncontrolled non-communicable diseases that is spreading. One, they have given kidney injuries because of prolonged work and heat stress and dehydration. Right, if you don't take proper water, our kidneys will be affected. You may get kidney stones. Since due to heat stress, we get dehydrated very soon, and when there is no proper water supply in the body, automatically it affects your kidney and you will get kidney injuries, and in return you will also get diabetes because of no proper food. So these are the non-communicable diseases that climate change can create in your life. And let's go to the next paragraph. And the third thing that can bring is depression due to climate induced stress. This is a different point that can be very different from other answers of your co-competitors, which can make you stand out of the crowd. And till this we have seen how climate change can bring indirect and indirect health impact, and we have seen how communicable and non-communicable disease impact created by climate change. You can either write your answers in the first way or second way when they ask what is the impact of climate change on health. Now if they ask the question related to what is the need for India to consider health related impacts on climate change, if there is a question of that kind, how will you answer is what next paragraph is answering. Because why we need to talk about climate change and its impact on health, why should India induce its policies related to it is because it has unplanned urbanization. Due to unplanned urbanization, what happens? So whenever a city comes in, there will be a lot of buildings, there will be roads built up. So what happens generally is increase in the amount of residential buildings, similarly the concrete roads, etc. What they do is they block the water to get inside the soil, as well as the roads that we build, these concrete things, what happens, they absorb all the heat. They call it concretization. They absorb all the heat, and during night, that is why you feel so warm living in a city. They will not reflect back the heat, rather absorb all the heat, and you feel heat inside. Similarly, it is so compact houses are what we have today because of the urbanization and rising population, and due to which no circulation of air happens there. So there is a need for looking into the impact of health when it comes to climate change, because India has unplanned urbanization in the first place. And the second reason they are saying is urban heat island effect. That was what I was talking to you in before slides. They have also given the meaning here. Urban areas are warmer than the surrounding rural areas, especially at night. I already said you, why do you feel? This is basically the concept of urban heat island, and this was a previous year mains question. Please go look at it. They have asked about the heat effect that is caused due to urban areas. This is a previous year urbanization question that is asked in the geography section itself. Please go look at it. And the third question is, we have a pressure on the urban primary healthcare due to this. So this is also an area that you have to focus, because there is an increased burden on the primary healthcare facilities of the urban areas. So these are the three things that we are lagging or problematic areas when it comes to India, and the need for it is there for impact on climate change. That is why this topic is very important. So this is the perspective that you will write answer. You can include these in your answers. And the next one is the last part, the conclusion. And the conclusion says that if you take the three streams of problematization, that is the policy options, the political decision making, as well as the three streams here they refer to as coordination at the global, regional and local level, along with policy, along with political decision making, should come together to make meaningful change to happen. This is the conclusion they have given here. You can also use it in your conclusion that we need cooperation at local, regional, global level, along with research based or data driven policy making to make climate change or to adapt to climate change. This is somewhat how you can write a good conclusion. So whenever you read newspaper, don't read it from a perspective of a commoner, because once you read in a perspective of a commoner, you cannot connect it to the answers. So try connecting it like a UPSC aspirant. Try connecting it or reading the article as if you're correcting an UPSC answer sheet. That will make your process so simple, and And one more thing that I said that I will tell you in the video is how to reduce time in newspaper discussion. The only mantra that will help you save time in newspaper discussion is repetition or consistency. When you're consistency in reading newspapers, try it. I think you may not believe it, but try it for 4 to 5 days. What will happen is over a period of time you will understand, because you will feel that after 4 to 5 days repeated topics are coming, or repeated topics are only coming in news. For example, Israel-Palestine war is repeatedly in news. PT inflation, that is also repeatedly in news. Once you start reading the newspaper, it will be a very new topic to you. So what you will do, you will go research about it. What is it, you will know. And after tomorrow, you will again read the same news about it. And this will continue for a long period of time. And in the end, it will automatically reduce your time. And the second thing, how you can reduce time in newspaper reading, is knowing the basic concepts. This will go line in line with your preparation as well as the newspaper reading. Once you get your basic concepts ready, you will automatically understand the newspaper in a better manner. For example, today's topic, what I talked about, urban heat island effect, be it the COP, be it the UNFCCC, be it the environment, be it the different topics. After you cover it in your basic syllabus, once you start reading the newspaper, you already know things, so you don't have to go and refer to it or know about it. So the time will automatically reduce. So the mantra to reduce time in newspaper is not to go look at n number of videos or prepare shortcuts. The only mantra that will work out is being consistent in your preparation as well as in newspaper reading. These two only can reduce time in your newspaper reading and will help you better write your answers. Don't skip newspapers, because they are really interesting if you have that, or put that interest to learn. Of course, it will be hard for a week or so, but trust me, if you continue for at least 14 to 15 days, you will fall in love with it. If you feel boring a little bit in the first week, try go and read your favorite area which is related to the syllabus and the previous year question paper, and try sticking on it at least for 15 to 20 days. After it, you will love reading newspapers and you will automatically connect to the syllabus. And as you keep going with the basic concepts in the UPSC preparation, be it polity, be it history, be it environment, as you keep reading those, this part will become really easy. So don't panic that I'm taking so much of time for newspaper. What should I do for newspaper? Newspaper is actually a very interesting and a dynamic subject that you can learn, because whatever you read is so factual, but when it comes to newspaper, you're reading something that is happening to you and to the world around. It is something that is very interesting to learn. And don't put pressure on yourself that I should read to clear this examination. No, it is something that you have to do every day. Know every day's news, be consistent with it, love reading it. It will actually teach you a lot. You will become more aware about what is happening around the world, and you will stand out of the crowd, because we as a society don't know, how many of us do really know that what is happening around us. Very few people. So if you start reading what is happening around, or if you don't have time, go watch some news channels and start reading. Pick your favorite articles, and don't spend a lot of time on newspaper referring so much of things. Keep your search very limited. As well as one more important thing that I want to tell you is, don't spend too much time of newspaper, because initially when you start preparing, you will research, and it will take 5 to 6 hours. That has happened to me actually. Don't do that kind of stuff, because as you go, as I said, you will definitely understand the basic topics when the syllabus are covered. Once the syllabus is covered, you will be comfortable. So don't be scared of it. Second thing is that read newspapers as your hobby. Keep it as your hobby and try reading and love reading it, because that can teach you a lot. The main thing that I am telling you again and again is, look it as a hobby and not as a very serious subject, because once you look at it as a subject, what you will do is you will try memorizing it. Once you start memorizing it, you will drain out of the process. Look it as your hobby, or a way that you love, or keep it as a break, so that you will feel comfortable in reading newspapers and feel proud to know something that is happening around the world today. That is it from my side, and I hope this video was helpful. As I said, the video is really long, but watch it till the end. But if you have watched it till the end, do let me know in the comment section. And if you have any further doubt in the newspaper section, I think I covered almost like everything. If you still have any doubts you wanted to ask, you can leave it in the comment section. We'll Meet you in the next video, and thank you and bye bye.